Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Welcome to today's lesson. Sometimes the tool we need for success is out of our hands. We do not know that there is a tool or method already in place to ensure that we can be a better student, better employee, or even better to ourselves. Sometimes we do not even know what questions to ask. We understand your confusion and frustration. However, you do not have to wander any longer. Geraldine's University of Knowledge will discuss your dreams and goals with you. G.U.K will help you access the best practices to help you reach your goals. We will help you build your skills through individual mentor meetings and workshops. Geraldine's University of Knowledge is your compass for success. So, today we are going to address procrastination and we're going to take a look at some of the techniques and skills, mainly from a psychological point of view, understanding how the brain responds to procrastination. The original presentation was created by Ms. Estacia Sanders Hernandez, our executive director and co founder for Geraldine's University of Knowledge. I am Horatio Laron Breland, director of learning for Geraldine's University of Knowledge. And thank you for joining me today. So, we are starting with goals, time management, and your skill set. So, this is just kind of the outline of some of the things that we're addressing today. So, for your goals, knowing what needs to be done, knowing where to start, it pretty much starts your journey. You want to start with the issue or concern. Not all goals have to be a problem, but a lot of the times we, as people, as human beings, will make a change if something in our lives is not working the most efficiently, or maybe it's causing a problem down the road, or maybe it's something that you want to improve. So, a goal could be resolving an issue, or improving a circumstance, or for self improvement or self betterment. You want to make a list of these goals or activities. Um, and we'll take a look at some examples of how to do this a little bit later. But you want to have some kind of list, whether it's written down or in a text message or placed on your calendar. You pretty much want to get the idea out of your head and into the physical world, whether it's writing it down, making a note, putting it on a calendar. And we will take a look at the steps that lead to your goal, because if the steps in the process do not eventually lead to your goal, then you must reevaluate those steps. You don't want to have tasks or activities that either deter or distract from your goal. And we'll talk more about how to do that. Sometimes, when you create a step to get to your goal, you might actually end up making smaller sub steps, which is okay. Add more steps if you need to, especially if you need to uh especially for a long-term goal. You'll find that you'll add sub steps as you progress, and that's okay, because it's all leading away. It's all leading towards your goal. So here's some thoughts to have. One of my favorite lines: the only way to eat a cow is one bite at a time. Meaning, it's one step at a time, one moment at a time, one day at a time. You can run a race one step at a time. Even though I'm sure many of us wish we could teleport, we can't yet. So you're not going to be able to teleport to your goal. You're not going to complete your goal instantly. But you can do one step at a time, and the more steps you take, the closer you'll get to your goal, and you'll see from where you started to where you want to be. Try to focus on each objective. And there's levels to that. You could focus on the overarching goal, but sometimes, especially for long term goals or maybe even more challenging goals, focusing on each step might be a little bit less daunting and a little less intimidating. And redo anything that does not lead you to the objective. So there's going to be times where you might not fully accomplish a step, or it may not be to where it needs to be. And sometimes you have to revisit and redo, and that is okay because each attempt will lead you closer to your goal. One of the biggest things that I try to have clients and students think about, is time management. Most of the time, people have reasonable and rational goals. However, people either over or underestimate the amount of time they need to complete that goal. They'll set a goal, and we'll have some examples of that later, but they won't give themselves enough time to complete the goal and then get frustrated when they don't succeed or don't come closer to achieving that goal. And it's mainly because you just simply didn't give yourself enough time to complete all the steps, which then leads to a lot of feelings of anxiety and frustration. And if it's consistent enough, you might even start feeling either dissociation or depression as well. So, giving yourself enough time will give you more opportunities for success. Part of your objectives need to be setting dates and a time to complete your objective. So you do need to give yourself a timeline, but it needs to be a reasonable timeline. Think about all the aspects in your life. If you only know for a fact that you might only have 1 to 2 hours of downtime in your day, then make sure you put that into consideration. Don't set a step that will require you to spend 4 hours on the task when you only have 1 or 2. And that task, that same time, that 1 to 2 hours, need will be divided amongst all the other things that you have going on in your life. So if you have 1 to 2 hours to dedicate towards a step or an objective for your overarching goal, maybe you only need to set like maybe 15, 30 minutes, because other things will come up. That's just how it is. The other things will come up that need to be addressed, especially if there's an emergency situation. But a lot of times it's just day to day with children, day to day with pets, day to day with work. So you do need to set a date, but it needs to be a reasonable time. And you want to consider all of the aspects of your life as you're setting that goal. It takes some practice to know how long each step will take. You may not fully know how long each step will take in the beginning, but once you start, you'll kind of get a sense of how long you have to give attention to your objective and how long it will take. Also, it helps to have a coach or a mentor, and we can talk about that later, to kind of give you a third party assessment on about, on average, how long it should take for the particular objective. We already talked about setting a date and time for each goal. A good technique is working backwards for each objective. So you say you have your overarching goal. Then you think about what you need in order to achieve that. Then you think about the steps for each objective. Um, and uh, and then it is helpful to have dates and time set for each step, because then you go from your long-term goal to your milestones to your daily objectives. Make sure you give yourself 2 to 3 extra hours days in your planning, just in case if you have to redo something or something comes up. Yep, we spoke about that, about giving yourself enough time to redo, to reassess as well. I would also even say, I would even add to this in stating that you actually want to have check-ins for your goal, whether you're checking in with yourself or you're checking in with your mentor. The check-ins should be either between each objective or between each milestone, and that can be decided once you know how long each step will take. The closer you get to the end or to the completion of that objective is when you would want to do an assessment. So for both students and adults, for adults, this would be like your performance review. It's something that comes up like every 90 days or every third quarter or something like that. It's your performance review. That would be your check-in where you would be reassessing a goal. For students, it would be like your midterm exams. A check-in to see how you're doing that semester, before to give you to reassess how close you are or what your final grade could look like. So you would want to actually have the same mindset when it comes to setting goals in your personal life. Is that the closer you get to those each objectives or each milestone, you want to have an assessment, a self-assessment. And we'll have kind of an example of self-assessment. This goal setting form can be accessed through our membership program for Geraldine's University of Knowledge. So definitely go to Geraldine's University of Knowledge.squarespace.com to access this material. You can also reach out to us at geraldine'sknowledge@gmail.com and specifically ask for the goal setting form, and we will be happy to get this information to you. We also have mentorship services. So if you are interested in that, you can fill out our services form at Geraldine's University of Knowledge.squarespace.com, or send us an email and we will be happy to assist you further with getting access to this information. Thank you all so much for your time today. And of course, reach out to us if you have any questions. Thank you again. My name is Horatia Breland, Director of Learning at Geraldine's University of Knowledge. Thank you so much.